This video is for anyone and everyone who has like a typical like 9 to 5 job. You're working in like corporate, or you're working for like someone and it's just not feeling in alignment with you. Like, you feel maybe in your heart or your soul that there's like a deeper calling, like that there's something more, that like this isn't it. And yeah, so just like two, stories from some queer folks that like listened to that and grew that voice and then escaped the matrix.
In this video, we're going to be speaking to you about escaping the matrix as a queer couple. So if you're new here, my name is Jessie.
And I'm B.
And welcome to our channel. If you're returning, like, welcome back. We're so grateful that you're here. And yeah, we're just going to jump right in. The first thing that comes to mind when I had my awakening, right? I was in an office party. I was in corporate America for like 5 years, and that was after the military. I was in the military for 8 years. But I was at this office party and had a slice of cake, from the grocery store. And I was looking around. We were celebrating an office anniversary for a woman who had been at this job for 30 years. And I just had this moment walking back to my desk, and I was just looking around. There were a lot of old people. The fluorescent lights were like energy sucking. And I had this moment of like, this can't be me. I don't want this to be me. I can't allow this to be my life. I don't want to be celebrated in 30 years with a slice of, Publix cake. And
Shout out Publix.
Shout out Publix, Pub Sub. I was just like, no. It was very like this visceral thing that happened to me, and I just remember sitting there and like, okay, I gotta make the change. I gotta, like, this is a calling inside of me. I had been wanting to like travel and like see the world again, and this was like my sign. I feel like I kept asking for a sign, what am I gonna do? I was so stuck in that, like, the illusion of stability and like that security blanket. And shortly after that moment, probably like a month later, I ended up leaving the company and just full sent it in my Airbnb business.
Wow, that's super powerful. Yeah, and like every time I hear like that office anniversary party, my background's a little bit different. So I've never like worked in corporate America. I went to grad school. I got my master's in marriage and family therapy. And so I've always worked in private practice, actually. I even remember like in grad school, like we had to intern at like we got the opportunity to intern at different places. There were like big like OMH clinics, like Office of Mental Health clinics, and that was like a little bit more like corporate-y, I guess you would say. Like that was more like very like clinical, kind of stuffy, very much like DSM, diagnosing, that sort of thing. And then there was like a smaller number of people that got the opportunity to be in private practice and work for someone with their own private practice. And that I knew was my path, and I was like, yes, because I wanted my own private practice. So that just seemed like a logical step to study under and to do therapy under someone who's already done it. So that's what I did, and I thought it was really awesome at first. I really enjoyed like my experience and like getting to know like the inner workings of all of that. But then like deeper inside, I was like, no, like I know I want to be my own boss. I know I don't want to work for like someone else for the rest of my life. I know I want to run shit. Like I just, even though I tend to be like pretty quiet. I used to be very, very shy. I just knew that, oh my God, I have this like grander purpose. And I thought it was, to own my own private practice. Maybe I'd have like other therapists like working for me in my own office, sort of like my supervisor. And so as the years went on, that call felt like stronger and stronger, especially after I got sober. I was like, oh yeah, like I remember, like this is, what I meant to do. So then I got the opportunity to, or I finally took, I guess, the opportunity. The opportunities are always there, but it's about like if you take action on it or not, and if you take that risk. And like, we're big risk takers.
Huge. We're crazy.
Like, we're wild. Like, just wait until you hear like the rest.
The rest of the story. We haven't even gotten to the good parts yet.
Yeah, like we were talking about this yesterday with one of our friends, and we kind of just talked about it like it was really nonchalant, like, oh yeah, we did all these things. And she was like, what? Like, this is what everyone wants to do. And but like, who has done it in your life? And I was just like,
nobody
one
can think of.
No one's done this. Like, I don't know anyone else that's done this in my personal life. So I took the opportunity, I took action to leave the 2 private practices that I was working at, and I started my own. And that was really cool for a little while, until it wasn't.
Till we had to surrender and let go of everything else that we thought, But in my experience too, I said that I left my corporate job and then I started this Airbnb business, which I thought was my calling at the time. I was just like, oh wow, like I'm so good at this. Like, I love design, I love hospitality, I love taking care of people. But that was just like the catalyst. That was what got me to leave. Like, obviously that moment, that really emotional moment of like, ooh, I can't do this, I don't want to be here. But jumping into that and really believing in myself and trusting myself and knowing like, oh yeah, like you can totally be an entrepreneur. So I know if I didn't like take that leap into that field of work, like, yeah, it wouldn't, that was just like a stepping stone to where I'm going now, right?
Yeah. Sort of like the private practice was for me, like getting out and doing my own thing, having my own office, my own clients, making like double the money, working way less hours. Like, that was so nice to not give away like half of my paycheck to my supervisor for overhead. Like, so grateful to her for like doing all the marketing and like providing the office space, right? Like, that makes sense. But it felt really nice to just like keep all of that and like work way less. So that's what I thought was like the peak. Like that was it. That's when I made it. And I was like, wait, why is this not feeling like how I thought it was gonna feel? Like, this is just not lighting me up. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh. That's such like a weird feeling. Like, when you get to a place where your younger self like envisions like, oh my God, this is it. Once I reach this, I've made it. Like, I'm gonna be so happy, everything's gonna be so perfect. And you get to that point and you're just like so unfulfilled and so unhappy. I think a lot of people get to that place, but they're not being real and honest with themselves about that. And I wasn't being honest with myself about that for a couple years. I was only in private practice for a couple years, and then by the end of like that couple years, I looked at her and I was just like, I think I need to let all my clients go. Like, I don't think this is right for me.
Right. And around that same time was when I was making great money from my Airbnb. Like, it was a successful business. I didn't have to market it. Like, there was no, it wasn't like a ton of work, and it was bringing in this like, passive income. But I was just like, yeah, this isn't it. And then that led me to let go of it and to sell it. So surrendering to that, that was really difficult to let go of, a successful business, but just like this inner knowing of, this isn't what you're meant for. You're meant for more. You have to let it go. And like, you have to let things go. And like, when you do that, the universe will reward you. everything that I can tell you from experience, everything that I've ever let go of, whether it's a relationship, family, friendships, material things, like I've gotten so much better in return.
That's 100% true. Because I used to have, oh my God, especially when you met me, I had difficulty letting things go. Like, I would hang on to something. Like, even if, like, a piece of clothing, for instance, even if I had not worn that shirt in, like, 2 years, I might wear it someday. I don't know. Like, it was so difficult for me to let go. But when I met Jess, she really inspired me because she's like she'll purge stuff. She'll just clean it all out, clear it all out. And that was super inspiring. And like, there was like a freedom to it. Like, there was like this frequency of like freedom. And I was like, oh my God, wait, I want that. So I started to like it started with material items, I think, more. And I started to let things go, and I just, like, my energy, like, felt lighter over time. And now it's like, oh, I love, like, letting shit go that, like, doesn't align with me, even if I've only had it for, like, a couple months, and I'm like, I'm not vibing with this anymore. Like, oh my God, there's so much power to that. So